I'm going to wait for people to jump on. But I wanted to come live real quick because somebody asked me a question about why is it that some people see and some people don't see spirit. So I wanted to go ahead and talk a little bit about that. Why there are some people who do see spirit and why there are some people who don't see spirit. And I'll tell you from a psychic perspective why some people see spirit and why some people don't. And why some people see the magic in their life and why some people don't get to see the magic in their life. So if you are a person that is very open to receiving energies into your life, you are going to have a much easier time experiencing magic and the spirits and experiencing the manifestation of things. Why? Because you are the creator of your own reality. Okay? What happens when you focus on something is that you give that which you're focusing on the building blocks to build into a manifestation. It's kind of like when someone has a ghost in their house. So ghosts, in order to manifest into physical form, into like an apparition, ghosts have to take energy from their environment to actually manifest. But if you are trying to manifest something and instead of giving the energy to what you're trying to manifest, you give the energy to the, I don't see it happening yet. I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see it. Instead of using that energy to build what you're trying to manifest, okay, you're not going to see your manifestation come. It's like building a house. If you keep taking bricks, instead of putting bricks into the house of, I believe that it's going to happen, so it's going to happen. I'm going to put this brick there. Every portion, every piece of belief that you have within you towards that thing which you want to manifest with your magic or with that you want the ability to see the spirits or the ability to communicate with the spirits. In a way, everybody has the ability to communicate with spirit, but the problem is that you're either in too much of a rush to pay attention. You are not present. You are not willing to take the time to quiet your mind, quiet your conscious mind, and open the door to the spiritual realm. There is a veil. There is a veil, and it's like a thick wall between the seen and the unseen. Those of us who are able to see through that veil do a lot of work to maintain our energy in a place where we are able to know how to open and close that veil so that we are able to see through that veil. And also, when you are trying to do magic, everything in your magical spell is intended to build towards that manifestation which you're trying to manifest. Some plant spirits, for example, they add bricks to that house that you're trying to build. Some plant spirits remove bricks from that house that you're trying to build. And when I say brick, I'm talking about the building blocks that are necessary to build a manifestation, to make something manifest. It's kind of like when you start to spill water. So, for example, you spill water and you see pathways on the floor where the water could go to. This is what psychics see, okay? So I'm going to compare it to spilling water. So as a psychic, I see possibilities of where your energy is going to go based on the decisions that you make and based on the energy you currently have, right? So you currently are holding a certain energy of, let's say you're holding a certain energy of positivity. You're doing your cleansing work. You're doing the work to really like do affirmations. You're meditating. You're affirming positive things. You're not doubting that something's going to manifest for you. What's going to happen is that water that you spill, which is those intentions, is going to go into the channel that is most likely to manifest what you're trying to manifest. If you are a person that is like, okay, we'll see, and you sit there and you don't do anything, and your energy is like stuck in this energy of doubt, what happens is you build a dam energetically between you and that manifestation, between you and seeing the spirits. You thicken the wall between the seen and the unseen when you are skeptical and doubtful. It's better to be indifferent than skeptical. It's because the spiritual world is not like a science experiment. It's not repeatable. And a lot of people have gotten into the wrong belief that if it's real, it has to be repeatable. And that's not the case. Miracles are not repeatable because they're not meant to be repeatable. Miracles are supposed to be miracles. Because if a spirit sees or a God sees that you have a lot of faith, they're more likely to give you something than somebody who is like doubting and testing them all the time. Think about it. Would you give anything to someone who only believes in you if you give them what they want? Would you give any energy to someone or anything to someone that only believes in you when you get what you want? When they get what they want? No. So there's going to be spirits that are like, well, you don't believe in me? I'm going to leave you alone. I'm going to go over there and deal with that person who is actually doing the work and who is willing to believe in me and who is willing to follow the process. I have had many people here who, especially, I love the Tauruses, because the Tauruses usually are very like grounded and like they have to see to believe. But I have had multiple Taurus people go from not seeing any spirits or anything, and then they work with me, and then over time they start to see. They start to see their own magic manifesting. They start to see spirit manifesting because they did the work. Okay? And this has happened with multiple Taurus and Virgo people that I've had. Which is funny because to me, Taurus and Virgos tend to be the most stubborn, and they're the most like physical like people. But the people that I've worked with that have been Tauruses and Virgos that were willing to do the work have actually been able to see the results and be able to communicate with spirit and see the communication from spirit and see their magic manifesting. But if you are in general a very doubtful person, a very like, I have to test you, you're automatically telling spirit that you don't trust them. There is a difference between being scammed by by a religion, because a lot of people come from Christianity and they're like, well, I don't want to have blind faith because in Christianity I had blind faith. You had blind faith in the pastor or priest or whatever in the church. You didn't have blind faith in God. You had blind faith in whatever the church or the pastor was telling you, or whatever the Bible was telling you, which the whole Bible is not accurate. Okay? But did you actually try to make communication with the angels? Did you make communication with the saints? Did you try to make communication with Jesus directly? Did you try to make communication directly with God? Because God listens. I hear God. I hear the Christian God. He's not the only God I worship, and I hear him. I hear him. When I meditate, I hear him. I hear Joshua. I hear the Christian God because half of my family grew up Roman Catholic. So I have a lot of relationships with different Roman Catholic beings, but I just don't practice that practice because I don't believe in what the church wants to perpetuate. So I have relationships with the individual saints that I work with. I have relationships with God. I have dreams with Joshua. Joshua, many of you know him as Jesus, comes to me in my dreams. I have spoken to the Christian God. And not just myself, but many of the people that I actually initiate, I only work with them because they are willing to allow the spirits to show them instead of constantly trying to test the spirits, because when you're constantly trying to test the spirits or constantly doubting what you're being told about what possibilities are in your future, you're going to just stop the energy from manifesting completely. There's two different things, right? So there's the energy of manifesting of your future being manifested. I'm trying to figure out the best way to explain this, because I understand not everybody's a psychic, not everybody's a medium, not everybody's a witch. So as a psychic, like I said before, I see multiple timelines based on the current energy of where you are at and where the person that you're asking about is at. If that person tomorrow decides to change their mind, decides to go in a different direction, which they have the free will to do, that changes the entire board game. Okay? This is how I was a chess player. I played chess in high school, which is the reason why I'm able to really understand how psychic abilities work, because in chess, you have to be able to see 3, 4, 5 steps ahead. 6 steps ahead, sometimes 10 steps ahead, based on, okay, if this person makes this move, then I will make this move. If that person makes that move, then I will make this move. So you have to be able, it's prediction. Okay? I'm not a Taurus, I'm a Sagittarius sun. But it's prediction. So psychics, and there are over 8 different types of psychics too. There are some psychics that can see your past lives. There are some psychics that can know information. The people that are like, somebody recently said, oh, if they don't know anything about me, then they're not really a psychic. That's not true, because mediums only know what the spirits tell you. There are psychics that are only able to, that are astral psychics, which they're able to focus on somebody and find that person no matter where they are, anywhere in the world. And they have been used by the CIA and by the FBI and by police enforcement. And they have even been used during the Cold War to spy on Russia by the US government. Okay? So there are mediums that only know what the spirit tells them of the dead, like a dead spirit. And mediums only know what that spirit believes to be true. So there are different levels of spirits. So mediums usually talk to the regular dead. So let's say you had some beef with somebody and they died. If that spirit didn't pass on to the other side completely, they don't have the knowledge of everything yet. So if that spirit is talking to that medium, that's why there are some spirits that come to mediums and they're like, I can't remember my name. I can't remember. Like some spirits don't even know they're dead when they haven't yet crossed over. So as a medium, I'm constantly, since I was a little kid, I've been constantly getting visited by spirits that like were lost or confused, or they saw my light, because mediums usually have a light, like a beacon. We have a beacon in the spiritual realm as mediums. So there are spirits that will come and be like, I'm lost. I don't remember who I am. Like they'll have amnesia. I don't remember who I am. I don't remember. All I remember was that I was in this field, and I was in a helicopter, and the helicopter fell, and that's all I can remember about what happened and how I died. And then mediums have to go sometimes and find out information through other means, like through their spirit guides or through doing research online based on the information that spirit told us. Then you have like claircognizant psychics who get an instant download. The moment that they connect with a person, they get an instant download, and they just know information and they have no idea where it comes from. That's called claircognizance. What most people know about is clairvoyant psychics, which have the third eye open, who use the third eye for seeing. And clairvoyant psychics, they are able to give information based on what they see. And we are shown, as clairvoyants, we're shown like video clips of your life. like I have somebody who I do readings for, and this person is with someone who's in the military. But this person who's in the military is on like a secret Navy SEAL team. And there were times when he would go missing and she would not know where he was. And I would be able to hone in on his energy and be like, I see him doing this, this, and this. And I would get clips of what he was doing and where he was. Like, I would get like, he's in Korea and he's like in the dark, and I'm seeing through his eyes. Like, he's in the dark and he's in Korea and he's like underwater for some reason. And then she would come to find out weeks later that he was on a mission in Korea that she did not know about, because she couldn't know about it because he was part of some sort of like SEAL team that they couldn't have that information. He couldn't tell her what he was doing. Okay? Then there's clairaudient. I'm a very powerful clairaudient. I hear spirits. I hear their voices. I hear information from spirit guides. I hear the spirit guides. So the moment that I hear someone's voice as well, I can automatically connect to their energy like it's a ribbon and pull out the information that spirit wants that person to know. Okay? So that clairaudience, we can pull energy like sound, almost like a ribbon, and get information from sound. Okay? So, and we'll hear songs, and we'll hear like voices, and we'll hear words. We'll hear like a ribbon of information in sound form. Like, almost like, I always tell people clairaudience are kind of like the radios of the spiritual world. We pick up on sounds from certain frequencies and then we project them out through our mouth. We pick up on information on certain frequencies and we put it out through our mouth. Channeling is when information from spirit or from a certain being comes directly telepathically into your mind, and then we channel it out our mouths. So there's different things, and these different gifts have to be developed as well. So you may have a spiritual ability, but that doesn't mean that it's automatically expanded. There are people who have blocks in their third eye, and they may have clairvoyant abilities, but they never see anything because they have a veil over their third eye. I've experienced this a lot in my trance healing sessions, where my clients have found that they have blockages in their third eye, or someone has done magic on them to stop them from being able to psychically see things. Or someone has done magic on them to make sure that there are people who used to bind. There are people who used to bind their kids' magical abilities. I have found many clients whose magical abilities and whose spiritual abilities have been bound by their parents or by their grandparents, either out of jealousy or out of protection. Okay? And then if you are more programmed to not believe in the spirits and to not see the spirits, or if you're subconsciously programmed to not believe in your own gifts, you're going to create a thicker blockage between you and the spirits that are trying to communicate with you. Because the reason why you can see spirits when you're a child, and why a lot of kids have like imaginary friends which are really spirits, is because kids don't have that programming yet. The older you get, the more you have to work to not be programmed by society, to closing yourself off completely to the spirit world. Like, have you ever seen Peter Pan and how Tinkerbell loses power when people don't believe in fairies? And how, like, Santa Claus loses power as people stop believing in him? Because it is the magic, it is the belief in their magic that actually keeps those beings alive for those people. And keeps the power of those beings alive. Because, for example, demons feed off your fear, which is the reason why a lot of demons make it so that a lot of people in religion really fear them, because they feed off your fear. Angels feed off your faith, your love, your joy, your innocence. So the more innocent you are, the more, so that empowers them. When there's a ghost in your house, they cannot move anything unless they suck energy out of you. So a lot of times when a house is haunted, the spirits will do stuff to cause people to fight so that they can suck up the energy and then have physical power to move things. Because spirits on the other side, they need to suck some sort of energy from the environment to manifest in physical form, because they don't have a physical body anymore. Okay, so I'm not here to convince anybody. I can only tell you my own experiences. But the more layers of doubt and the more layers of fear that you have, the less likely you are of seeing anything in the spiritual world or the magical world manifest for you. Because the magical world and the spiritual world already has a barrier, and you make it thicker through all of these layers. Your doubt acts like a protective shield. A lot of spirits won't show themselves to you because they don't want to scare you. So a lot of people are like, for example, I do readings, and sometimes spirit is like, this person is a medium, but they're not seeing anything because they're scared of us. And then I will tell the person, like, spirit is telling me that you're a medium and that you've seen spirits since you were a kid, but you stopped seeing them because you were scared of them. And they were like, yeah, I've seen the dead, but I'm scared of it. I don't want to do it because I'm scared of the dead. I'm scared of the dead. The more scared you are, the more they're going to hide themselves from you, because they don't want to scare you. Except negative beings. Negative beings want to scare you. So when they haunt you, they make themselves known, because they know the more they can scare you, the more energy they can suck from you. So that's why when you have spirits that are haunting a house, they will whisper stuff in your ear and whisper stuff in somebody else's ear and make you paranoid, so that you fight with each other, so that they can suck up that negative energy and manifest and have some sort of control over the environment. Because negative spirits can't really control the environment because they don't have a physical body, unless they absorb the negative energy from the environment, and then they are able to manifest in physical form as an apparition. Spirits, on the other side, the way that the elevated spirits work is that they talk to the people's higher selves. So if there's something that you're trying to do, okay, the spirits in the higher realms, they will talk to your higher self, and then it's your higher self's job to get you on board with the plan. And your higher self and your guardian angels will start to drop hints in your path, like, hey, you should go that way, 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 you should go that way. That's why I always compare this life to a video game, because when you are playing a video game, you are controlling the avatar. It's the same thing with your higher self. Your higher self controls you as the avatar. But if you are completely disconnected from your higher self, you're going to be lost, and you're going to be one of those avatars that's like running into the wall, hitting your head on the wall, and you're like, and your higher self is like, what are you doing? Like, why aren't you listening? Why is this remote not working? I'm trying to control this avatar, and this avatar is not working, because you are disconnected from your higher self. Okay? And if you have experienced negative energy, which usually is what happens to people when they first wake up from the religious hypnosis, is that the first thing you experience, because now you're in the ocean of spirituality, a lot of the times the first thing you experience is a dark night of the soul. And not everybody, but a lot of people do. And the first thing you experience is something negative. And if the first thing you experience is something negative, you're gonna be like, hell no. Alexa, stop. You're gonna be like, I'm gonna close myself off to everything. Like, I was a little bit more skeptical, and then I died. Back in 2020, I fell on the floor. I had a stress-induced heart attack. I was dead for a few minutes, and when I was dead, I saw Archangel Metatron and Archangel Michael and my grandfather, and I saw Archangel Metatron open the light for me to pass on. And I wanted to go, because as soon as I saw the light, I was just, there was no fear, there was no pain. It was like the best euphoria in the world. And I could see my grandfather waiting for me, and he was waiting for me there, and I was like, take me with you. And I could hear in the background behind me my spouse going, no, don't take her, because I guess I was, you're not going, because I guess I was saying it, but I didn't realize that I was saying it out loud. And Archangel Michael then said to me, no. And he touched me on the forehead, and he pushed me back into my body. And I was back in my body. And I have died, and I've been told by my grandma and my grandpa that I have died a few times in my life. Like, I almost died when I was a little kid. I was on the beach. My grandma used to tie my hair with these like really hard, like ball, like little scrunchies that had like these hard balls on them. And I fell on the beach on a rock, and one of the balls went into my skull, and I had to be rushed to the hospital. And when I was a teenager, I almost committed suicide, and Archangel Michael saved my life. So there's I've had a lot of near-death experiences, and every time I have a near-death experience, I believe even more, because another layer of the society programming falls off. It just falls off. Okay? So I can only tell you the experiences I've had, but I can tell you this for sure. If you have a lot of trauma, if you have a lot of fear, if you have a lot of religious programming, all of those things are going to get in the way of you being able to see. Because to see, you have to be willing to see. It's not just like in religion where they tell you, oh, just have faith and you'll see it. No, if you want to see, you have to be willing to see. If you're not willing to see, then you will not see. It's that simple. You just have to be willing to see. If you're like, I doubt it, I don't think it's going to happen, then that's automatically already putting a barrier for you. If you're like, let me think about it. Like if you say, okay, I'm going to go to work today, right? And then you're like, I don't think it's going to happen. That's already a part of you that's going, I'm not going to work today. I'm not going to do it. It's just not going to happen. Like then you convince yourself that it's not going to happen, and it won't happen. Because it just won't. A big part of manifestation is your subconscious mind believing it. If your subconscious mind doesn't believe it, it's like you're telling it to not manifest that thing. It's It's like when you're programming a computer. If you are doubtful or unsure of what the programming that you want to put into it is, then that computer is going to be a complete mess. So if you want to see, you need to remove all of the blockages first. You need to cleanse yourself, heal your trauma, remove all of these doubtful blockages first. That's why I offer trance hypnosis to help you remove these blockages on a subconscious level in the spiritual and astral realm so that I can help manifest in the physical realm. You have to remove all these blockages, and then you need to trust, and you need to just trust in yourself first. Because in religion, they're going to tell you trust in something outside of yourself. But if you can't trust in something outside of yourself, at least trust in your higher self, in yourself first. Connect with your higher self, which is why I did that guided meditation called Breaking Illusions and Connecting with the Higher Self on my YouTube channel. I offered that to you guys as a gift. It's a guided meditation. You can go, you can do it for free. Okay? But what a lot of people don't understand is that the first door before you can enter into the spiritual is the imagination door. If you're not able to imagine or visualize anything, like if you're not able to visualize anything or imagine something, then even your imagination door is closed. So even if your imagination door is closed, which is what children have a a lot of imagination. So that's why they have a lot of spiritual gifts, because it's like the imagination door is first. Well, the veil is first. Then the imagination door is there. Then behind the imagination door is the astral world door. And then behind the astral world door is the spiritual door. Okay? Okay? So you have to realize that. If you have no imagination, that means if you have no imagination, you're never going to get to the astral world door. You're never going to get to the spiritual world door. Because if you have imagination, you might even have soul loss. If you have no imagination, your inner child might not even be part of you anymore. They might be lost in the astral realm, and you need somebody to go in there with you and pull them back out. And integrate them, which is a lot of the work that I do in soul retrieval work. Some people only have their shadow selves with them, and the shadow self is holding on to a lot of trauma and fear because it's in survival mode, and it's trying to figure out how to live, how to survive. Okay, somebody said the soul retrieval was mind-blowing. The emotional cord removal is still working for me. So you have to understand, if you had a lot of trauma, the one who's in control right now is your shadow self, because all she's trying to do, or he's trying to do, is figure out how to freaking survive.
Magic was stolen.
And the magic was stolen from you. The key to tap into your magic was stolen from you during trauma. Trauma causes soul loss, which then disconnects you. I had a client a few years ago who would be like, Priestess May, she came to me from other people. She said, Priestess May, I'm constantly getting readings, but my readings never come up. It's like almost like they're reading for somebody else and not me. Okay, I looked into her thing, into the astral realm. Her soul was swapped with someone else. Her soul was swapped. So that other person stole her soul and trapped it and gave her the soul of someone else and left her empty. So then we had to go and do a soul retrieval ceremony. And then it took years to finally start to actually, not years, it took a few months for that person to actually start seeing her readings manifest for her. Because her soul, the readings were, everybody was reading her soul in the astral realm. They weren't reading her current vessel. So Yari said, yes, during my soul retrieval, I saw all my pieces coming back together. Exactly. During your soul retrieval, after we've removed all the trauma, we go in, my spirit guides and your spirit guides and I go in and we pull back your soul pieces. So a lot of people, for example, they have body dysmorphia. A lot of people who have body dysmorphia is because they didn't finish a past life as a different gender. So in this lifetime, they're confused. They don't know. Their soul is lost in the in-between. So a lot of people who have body dysmorphia, or who believe themselves to be trans, a lot of people that are trans have soul loss or soul confusion, because they were maybe a man in a past life, and in this lifetime they have to be a woman, but they still resonate with that life as a man. Or in this lifetime they had to be a man, but they still resonate with that lifetime as a woman, and they haven't finished that lifetime. So there's confusion, and there's like lifetimes spilling over each other. This is why I constantly tell y'all, a lot of these mental health problems are not mental health at all. They are spiritual problems that have manifested as mental health problems. After mine, it felt like decades of tension and your back came out. Yep, exactly. So, left you. So, that's what I'm saying. That's why I say to people all the time, be like, when you get a diagnosis from a psychologist or a psychiatrist, don't just absorb that and make that your identity, because then you're telling your subconscious mind, this is who I am, so now I have to show all of the symptoms of this diagnosis. So have you ever noticed that, like, the moment that you get diagnosed with ADHD, all of a sudden you have all the symptoms of ADHD? Because your subconscious mind confirms it, and then it manifests. Okay? Like, if you confirm something to your subconscious from an external authority, it's going to manifest for you. Unless you have a very strong mind that does not allow external validation in. Okay? Like, what people call bipolar has many different reasons in the spiritual world, and I would only be able to tell somebody individually if we went into the astral realm and we found out, why are you exhibiting bipolar symptoms? Why are you exhibiting schizophrenic symptoms? A lot of people who think they're schizophrenic, they just have a very open crown. Their crown is too open, and they are being manipulated by negative spirits. To find out if you need any kind of astral realm work, you need to or astral realm healing work, you need to book a consultation. Yes, for the soul retrieval and for for emotional cord removal. All of my healing sessions are astral trance healing sessions. Trance is just a spiritual word for hypnosis. But the type of trance that we do is a little bit more in depth than hypnosis. It's a little bit different than hypnosis, but it is shamanic trance is just another type of word for hypnosis, but it's a spiritual word for hypnosis. I'm not a mental health professional. So what I do is I do the spiritual work. I help you in the spiritual realm to find out what is it in the spiritual realm that's causing this mental illness or this mental disorder, or what's causing this physical health problem or emotional issue. Like, I have a mentor who had a client who was this is kind of strange, but you can have psychosis-induced paralyzation, where you are in this psychosis, spiritual psychosis, or mental psychosis that you're paralyzed, and therefore your body will tell you you're paralyzed and will behave as if you are paralyzed. And my mentor did a session for someone who was having these problems, went into the astral realm, removed the attachment that was convincing this person they were paralyzed, and then this person started to walk again. Now, that's not going to be the case for every single person, but it could. A lot of the things that happen to you spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, financially have a root in the spirit, because the spiritual is where it first comes to. Think about it. You have an idea, but then you're like, where did that idea come from? That idea came from the spiritual world. It was downloaded into you. Have you ever had an idea and then you see somebody else and you don't listen to the idea, and you see like 2 years later, 3 years later, somebody else does that idea? That's because that idea was in the ethers. Okay? That idea was in the ethers. And then you had a moment, because you were looking for something to do. You had a moment where you opened your crown up enough and that idea just dropped into your mind from the ethers. Okay, that idea dropped into your mind. Now, if you don't have blockages of doubt, you're going to take that idea. You're going to be, oh my God, God just gave me this great idea. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to execute on it. And then you are emotionally invested in it. So the idea has to come in from the ethers, from the spiritual. Then it goes into the mental. Then it goes into the emotional body, because our body is made of water. Okay? It goes into the emotional body. And then once it goes into the emotional body, it's able to be born into the physical world through your actions. And then it becomes a solid thing. That is how magic manifests itself. There are beings in the universe that can move things with their mind, because they are a lot older than us, and they are a lot more conscious than us, spiritually and magically conscious than us. Thank you for the badges. So that's the reason why there has been people in the military who are whistleblowers and who have come out and said, I used to work for the military and I was on a mission where I saw extraterrestrials moving things with their mind. Because those extraterrestrials are in contact with our government agencies, and they make exchanges with the government for experimental purposes. And people in the military see it. I've had a lot of people in the military tell me, I have seen it with my own eyes, and they're not allowed to say it to anybody out loud. They say it to me because, it's confidential, and I'm not sharing who they are, so they can't get into trouble by me sharing that information. And I only ever share anything that I get permission to share. So but if these beings are more conscious than us, like yesterday, I delivered a message from the Andromeda Council. I channeled that message, but they were speaking to me telepathically, because I have developed my telepathic communication through my ceremonies to work with the misterios, with the Loa. The same ceremonies that I received to communicate telepathically with the Loa are the same ceremonies that allowed me to communicate with other beings telepathically. I just don't talk about it. I don't talk about it because there's a lot of people with limiting beliefs. But the same rituals that allowed me to speak telepathically to the Loa and to some of the Orisha are the same rituals that I needed in order to communicate telepathically with those beings, because those rituals allowed me to expand my consciousness. That's why certain initiations are required, to expand your consciousness enough to be able to handle it, and expand your spiritual strength enough to be able to handle communicating with these beings, because it can be very draining. And some of the magic that you do with these beings can be very draining to the point where it can make you sick, physically sick, if you are not physically well enough. That's why when you get initiated in my house, spirit, and even in Ifa, there's only certain things you're allowed to do for like a year, and then 2 years, and then 3 years, because it's slowly building your spiritual strength. It's not like you're going to wake up today and get initiated and tomorrow you're going to have like all the powers. No, because it's like you wouldn't give a newborn infant a steak, right? A newborn infant has to start on baby formula, and then they can go to like mashed potatoes, and then they can go to
That's no baby formula.
soft foods. And it's the same thing when you wake up in the spiritual world. You can't go from nothing to everything in 24 hours or even in a year. It would be debilitating to your mind. Your mind wouldn't be able to handle it. Your body wouldn't be able to handle it. So when you first wake up, Spirit gives you little missions that you need to do in order to grow your spiritual strength. The first mission usually when you wake up is heal yourself. Heal emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Purge all those things that are blocking you. So Spirit will give you little missions. And after you complete each mission, you'll get to see more and more and more and more. Yes, if you really are a medium, then I'll be able to see that in a reading. You have to book a deep channeled reading with me. So when you first wake up, you're like a baby. Even if you were born with mediumship abilities, if you've never used them before, you're not going to go from nothing to everything in one day or 1 year or 5 years. It's taken me 30 years to fully develop my gifts, and they're not even fully developed yet. Completely. I'm still functioning at like 75% of my gifts, because there are some gifts that I can't have. Like Spirit said to me the other day, you have to realize that you can't go too fast because you're going to get sick. There are some gifts that you can't develop until you're 80 or until you're 70 years old, because your body and your mind can't handle it yet. By the time my grandfather died, he didn't even have to use anything to make something manifest. Okay? Like, he didn't even have to use anything. All he had to do was use his words, and things will manifest. Would manifest for people. And he would tell people, okay, I'm going to bring that person back for you, and the next day that person would come back to them. Or he would tell people, okay, we're going to do this, this, and this, and you're going to be healed, and you're going to feel better, and that person would heal. My grandfather had people that were told, you're going to die in 6 months, and they're still alive. They're still walking around alive. I had a client who had throat cancer, and I did all of the spiritual work that Spirit told me to do, and by the time she went to surgery, a tumor that was like this big was pea-sized.
They didn't need to do the regular
Was pea-sized. It had shrunk because the spiritual work allowed the physical body to heal. Okay? There was somebody who my grandfather took as a child, and his parents were told, because he had cerebral palsy, his parents were told, your child is probably not going to make it past the age of like 8. That person that person is still here. They went to college for being a mathematician. That person went to college to be a mathematician after my grandfather did work on him when he was a child. Because that is the power of the Loa. That is the power, that is the type of power that you can channel if you believe in your spirit team and you do the little missions that your spirit team guides you to do, and you walk in faith, not sight. There are times where I wake up and spirit is like, go to this shop. There's a message we need you to deliver. And I have no idea who I'm going to deliver the message to. I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing there. And I just show up, and all of a sudden the person that I'm supposed to talk to shows up, and they're like, oh my God, I've been praying about this. I've been praying, and you just showed up here and gave me the answer I was looking for. Or like sometimes we will run across people that we're in need of something, and spirit guides us to go and bring that with us. And then they'll be like, oh my God, I don't even know how this happened. I was saying that I really needed this, and then you just showed up here and gave it to me. But you have to walk in faith, not sight. In the flow, not just in what other people are telling you, but in the flow of what your spirit guides are telling you to do. That's why I always tell you, if you are not guided to come to me by your spirit guides, don't. Because if you're not guided to come to me by your spirit guides, then I have nothing to offer you. And I'm not going to make something up to keep you as a client. I have never done that, and I never will. Because I will only ever tell you what your spirit guides tell me. So if you are not guided to me, do not come to me. I don't care how popular I am. I don't care if I have 1 million followers. If you are not guided to me, do not come to me, because I have nothing to offer you if you are not divinely guided to me. Because I am only here to serve the spirits and the spirit guides who request help out of me for their children. My readings are not just for fun. My readings are for spiritual missions. My readings are, what is it that your spirit guides need you to know and need you to do right now on your spiritual path? On your spiritual path to help your physical path. My readings are not just for fun. They are for purpose. I've always said this since the beginning. My readings are for purpose, not just for fun. Although they can be fun sometimes. But they are meant to have a purpose. They are meant to be intentional. So anyway, that's a little bit about all this. All right? I had to learn a little bit about all this. And sometimes the lessons that we have to learn are lessons that are going to grow us. All right? I'm not here to convince you. I'm only here to show you if you are willing to see.
And your testimony.
I'm only here to give my testimony and to show those who are willing to see. All right? Much love. Many blessings. By the way, today is the last day to sign up for the Return to Sender with Baron Samedi. So if you want to sign up for that, today's the last day. I'm not going to be able to move it because I have a lot of responsibilities this month. So I'm not going to be able to move it. I have to stay on schedule. So if you want to be part of the Return to Sender, today by 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is the last time to sign up. I would say 6:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right? You can find all that on highpriestessmay.com. I will never DM you. No real worker will ever DM you because you are supposed to be led to us, not us going out and seeking you out. So I will never DM you. I don't answer DMs right now because they are too overwhelming. So if you have a question, drop it in the comments. I'm more likely to see it there and respond to you. If it's a question that is general and that can help not just yourself, but also the collective. If it's a specific question to you, then you need to book a consultation or book a reading. All the information is on my website. Look through it. Intuitively choose what it is that you feel that you need to go towards and go there. Many blessings.